Lynn Salvatore Palm. Welcome to our farm here in Ocala, Florida. Through meeting all of you horse lovers from all over the world, I have realized how important it is to build a bond of mutual trust and understanding with your horse. You have inspired me to create a video series to explain how much respect and confidence you can gain from your horse by working on the ground. This training and handling will make your horse easier to train in the future and more enjoyable to be around. Another thing I want to do that is an introductory to ground tying is a little bit what I've done so far is working with a very loose line and not hanging or holding on to my horse. But I want my horse to ground tie for, again, the very important reasons of acceptance and being obedient and mannered. So I'm going to start that in the stall. Come here now. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Whoa. Not against the wall. And on a loose and longer line, I will take my work that I've done with her, the stroking, the petting, picking up the feet, her standing with a looser line. That's a girl. Easy now. Easy, easy, easy. Good girl. Good. Okay? And still holding on to it. So I'm going to do this with what I've previously done from one side. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. The other side, and constantly keeping a little conversation going where I'm realizing that she is still got her ears and her eyes on me, as you see here, still staying very relaxed, still accepting what I'm doing, but the longer and longer that I have her in a line, the more later in the stall, and or it builds from the next area that I go to with my horses is the aisle of the barn. It goes to a paddock that I'm working with in. It goes to, again, the horse standing and being obedient. If the horse gets the head down on the ground or starts sniffing like this, there's your first indication of losing the command that you've given her. So that's the only thing that I want to make sure. She can look side to side, head up, all around. I can watch that. But the second they start to bring their head down, then they've lost their attention off of you. Now, not only do I want them to ground tie and to be obedient and mannered, come here, girl, come here, Shania, come here, Shania, is they got to learn how to tie up. Okay, again, in the stall, I will use this good old hay bag as a tool for the benefit to where I'm going to take a little bit longer, but I'm not going to let my horse get in trouble. That's my goal. I will just put my lead through my tie in the stall with the hay bag to keep my horse occupied. And when you're tying a horse, you never want to tie the horse any looser where he can get his head down and could get a foot between the lead. So when the horse is relaxed, we'll just wait here just now. There she's relaxed. Now I don't have a pulling tension, but she can't get her head any lower than that. That's the length that I want to definitely work with. Gives her enough freedom to move the head around, but this is going to be where she won't get in trouble. And I just leave the lead in the ring without actually tying it. And I'll show you what I'll do when I start to actually tie it. Introducing anything to my horse, I want him to smell it. I want him to, oh good, oh that's wonderful. Now we've got a trick horse too. I want him to smell it, accept it. Huh? You want to see that again? Huh? There, good girl. Okay, I don't want him to be afraid of anything. And putting in their mouth, shaking it like that, like it's a toy, that's absolutely the greatest. Now the same things need to be done while she's being tied as well. And that is that she's got to move away from pressure or come to pressure. Okay, the brushing, picking the feet up, the same thing. Right shoulder, pushing on her right shoulder, my right shoulder to hers. Holding longer. Moving so she can't. Good girl. nip at me, making sure that my lead is still at a good tension, holding the leg longer, and after she puts it down, still keeping the touch. Very good here. Same thing here, and again, not having the wall. If she moves away from me while I'm doing this, in other words, moves to her left while I'm working on her right side, then she's not ready for this. She needs to go back to the wall. And then the next thing that I'll do when I really truly want to tie her, instead of tying the lead in a slip knot, is I will use a lead that's of elastic band. And see, she just had tension and she gave to that tension, so that's what's going to teach her. And to avoid what I don't want to see happen is that she pulls back on the lead. Okay, now we'll just see if this has got, if she pulls back in the lead, she really doesn't have very far that she can go, and she won't get in much trouble here, but this is where I want to start to teach her in the confined area. And another thing I really like to do is use a towel on the horse. A towel is excellent because, again, it's a real soft stroke, especially a young one. So use a sacking for the horse not to be afraid of anything. And the towel is what I use first if I had troubles with a horse that really was head shy and didn't, we'll let her get one more bite of hay, that didn't accept a brush, was too sensitive even for a soft horsehair type brush. But I will use a towel on this young one, and the towel is, again, it's so much softer, but as you see here, when they start closing the eyes and lowering the head, they're accepting what they're doing. If they move the head away, then they're not accepting, and you just got to take a longer period of time. Once they accept it, then you can open the towel wider. Very good. Stroking always the ears. There. And then you can play around too. Let her wear it for a while. Huh, Shania? One thing else that I'd surely like to show, that if I'm going to actually do my tying here, is that a slip knot, or how to tie a slip knot. I've got the lead through. I'm going to make a circle, and a complete circle, not an open hand circle. Bring the end of my lead through that circle and close down my knot. Some horses will play with that, so I'll just put the end through as we are. No, easy, baby, easy. Good girl, that's it. See, she came to a tension, she felt the tension, she moved and gave to that tension, and that's what she has to learn to stay tied. Back to the slip knot, if I ever get into trouble, I can just easily remove the end of my lead, pull the knot out, and my horse then is not tied anymore. So the slip knot is always a knot that you want to use at all times while tying your horse. One of the things that I like to do with my horses in the stalls is getting them used to wearing bandages or split boots, polo wraps, standing bandages. Of course, I do that in the stall. Now, and if she wants to bite and play with it, I have no problem with that. That's always a good sign of accepting, as well, as long as it doesn't get out of hand. And I'd let that, or do that in the stall, letting you hear the sound of it, let them wear in the stall. Always is a good, again, a good training method for the horse accepting what's being done with them. Now I want to make sure that I get in a position here where you can see with a split boot, you always want to make sure that your split boot, that you are putting your Velcro through, and that you're always wrapping inward, not to the front of the leg. You're always wrapping inward to the inside, toward the inside of the leg. Oh, say, my goodness. And if she raises the leg, moves the leg, all of that, I'm not moving away from her. I'm working with her motion. I'm always keeping the touch. Very good. Very good. And I'm going to do some polo wraps just on the back legs. probably going to have to go back to the wall, get set up, think about what I'm doing before I go do it. So I got protection on one side. But the first thing I want to do with my horse is that she accepts the sound, she accepts the touch, and then I clip. Because it's my goal with any clipping, whether it's under the jaw, the nose, the eyes, the ears, the bridle path. I want the horse to do it without any type of twitch. Give myself the protection, put her against the wall. That's very good there. I'm going to anticipate that, especially when I first turn these on, that she's going to maybe aware of it and be a little bit afraid or worried. So I'm in a very good position right here with being at her shoulder. Okay, now just listen to me. So I don't want her looking away. I want her dressing or looking toward me. So she has a better chance of not being as afraid. Anytime that you do something new, if they're addressing it and looking toward it, then they have a better chance of accepting it. Now, she showed me right here. She's definitely looking. She's attentive to what I'm doing, but she's totally accepting and not being worried that because I haven't approached her in any way. Now, if she'll approach me by a smell, that's wonderful. And she's starting to smell right now. She's looking and addressing and trying her best to accept. Now, there was a little bit of a worriedness there. If she moves, I move. Good girl. Good. And all I want to do with these clippers, and I'm going to start to the middle of the horse. Good girl. That way, I've got the wall to help if she goes forward, and I can move easily if she backs up, is stroke her like I did petting. Starting at the middle, from the top to the bottom, and that's all I want to do. And as you can see, I'm not touching her at all with the clippers. Right now, I want her actually to accept the sound and the vibration. Very good, very good. Going down the leg. She moves, I wait, I keep touching, that's the most important. And then you eventually work down, lower to the bottom of the legs. You eventually work up toward the head. This is the hardest. Good girl. Now we start at the top, so it gives an indication for her to lower that head. Now here's where she has felt, and I see it by the look of her eye. She's really opened her eye wide, and I see it by the raising or the tension I'm feeling in her head and neck. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I move with her. That's a girl. It's okay. It's all right. Okay, now maybe I'm stroking too much. I'm just going to hold my hand steady, and then she's accepting. Good. Good. That's a girl. That's a girl. Now, I'm going to take the clippers away and just hold and touch. The most sensitive area besides the flank of the horse is the top of the head and the ears. Ears, nose, and flank. See, now that I changed there, now she's accepting. Let's see what happens now. I go back and now I have relaxation. Once I get them accepting by the touch, and I actually want to do the cutting, I'm still touching with my hand, the bottom of the clippers, and then I clip. So I'm not just going and clipping without those three procedures. So again, the hand, the bottom of the clippers, and then the clippers. And that's the procedure I take in every step, from starting with the bridle path, underneath the face, the whiskers, the legs, and then the ears last. And the ears take the longest, and you have to practice it every day that you work with your horse. And the more often you work with your clippers, the sounds, the accepting, the more that you're building that foundation that you'll never need a twitch again.
Be patient. Do not take your eyes off your horse. If you cannot look directly because you are occupied, use your peripheral vision. When tying to a wall for the first time, be sure the lead is not too short, which could encourage pulling, or too long to prevent the front legs from getting caught. Reward often by voice and by touch. Do not begin something new until the previous step has been mastered. For safety, always be aware of your position in relation to the position of your young horse.
Okay, now I want to take what my horse has learned in the stall, and I've worked with this horse several times, and depending on the horse where it shows that it has the knowledge, come here, to come to me, stop, back, stand, come here, whoa. I'm ready to go to the aisle of the barn. If my horse is inconsistent, I don't go to the aisle of the barn to try to expect the same thing that he was doing in the stall. He would have the same or worse responses out here in a new area. So, but the aisle of the barn gives a little bit more gradual progression and simulate more still your confined area for the horse to keep his concentration on you. But the aisle of the barn, I don't go and tie him and put him in cross ties. I want the same similar thing that I did in the stall, on a loose line, a long line, and the horse standing and working toward it being ground tied. Now I'm going to back her up a little bit because she's got a friend over here that she's looking at and addressing and losing her attention on me. Back, 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 back. That's a girl, back. Good. Oh, good. Get her relatively square. Whoa. Back, back. One more step. Whoa, good girl. Good. That was very good. Now, whoa. Now I'm going to keep my eye on her at all time. And here in the barn, oh, I think first what I might do is, good girl, is take off her wraps. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to keep the touch if she lifts the leg. I went a little bit fast. That's a girl. Now she's licking her lips. She understands that, oh, I've had this done before. That's very good. And as I move around my horse, that's a good girl. I'm going to always keep my eye on her. Oh, my. I should have started up here. That's very good. Everything's new when you go in a new area. That's a good girl. That's a very good girl. Yeah, it's a good girl. Very good. I'm proud of you. That's a good girl. And all of this that I'm doing at this time still leads into, as the horse advances, with saddling. I want to do this is the same procedure that I will take with my horse when he gets old enough to be working under saddle. I like to brush, saddle my horses in the aisle of the barn without being tied. I think it's an excellent sense of the horse being patient, but most importantly for me, for the training aspect of it, is that if the horse stands here, he's accepting everything that I'm doing with him. That's a good girl. If they move around, they wiggle around, then those are horses that's not accepting what's being done with them. Now I have to be careful here. If they put their nose down, that's the first or the most viable sight that there is that the horse will start losing his attention on you. That's very good, very good. Not to do something too long. Now I'm going to move her. And let's see if I can move her with just a cluck. Come here. I'll eliminate that later. Very good. Come here. Come here. Come here. Good girl. Come on. Okay. Yep. They're all right. Come on. I know you're not afraid of them. Come on. She'll want to play with them. Not right now. And I'm going to ask her to move away from pressure on the shoulder. Very good, Shania. Very good. Oh. Oh. Good. I've just moved my filly a little bit more at an angle so you can see how I'm working with the brushing and just getting her to accept what I'm doing. And again, as I said in the stall, I always work top to bottom, front to back. That's a good girl. And at all times, if I don't look like I'm looking at my horse, I'm looking at that horse with the peripheral vision. I don't take my eye off the horse. And, whoop, sorry, baby. Sorry. That was my fault. And the other thing I don't want to do is have my lunge line too tight, or my lead too tight, where the horse, I'm pulling the horse around or there's tension in that lead. Nor do I want to have it long and dangly like that. That's very unsafe. That's a girl. And when I go front to back, oh, easy. Or if I wanted to go back to this point, you see I still have a loosened line. Going from front side to side, I'm always going to say whoa to her before I start back the other way, because they have a tendency to follow you because you've taught them to follow you in the barn. Okay, the towel, I love the towel, especially at the beginnings for the head before I ever do a brush. Now this is a sign of resisting. I'll let her smell it. All right, I think she wants to play with it. All right, go ahead. Atta girl. Very good. Oh my goodness. Good. That's a good sign of accepting. Now if she's going to raise her head again, oh, that's better. Okay, I'm going to come from behind. No, it's okay. That's a girl. That's a girl. That's my girl. That's my girl. Good. Same procedures I had to do in the stall, but it's once you change your area, don't ever forget that you got to start procedures all over again, almost like they haven't learned before. You can test them. I'm going to need more time with this. Oh, she wants to play with this now. Well, that's okay. She's resisting, but not. I can tell because you want to get a hold of it, don't you? That's a girl. That's a girl. I'll let you play with it after. Good. That's it. When they put their head down, they're accepting. All the other traits is a sign of trying to evade. That's it. It's okay. It's okay. That's a girl. Clean her eyes. It's okay. That's a girl. You have to be really careful when you cover the eyes with a cloth because they can get real insecure. Here. That's it. That's it. Standing more to the side. That's it. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Well, let's see if I can make the approach from the bottom to the top. Well, that's better. No, not really. Not really, but it's better. It's better. There. All right. Now, that's what you wanted to do. That's why it was hard. Good girl. Go ahead and pick it up. Go on. Get it. Go on. Go on. Nothing better with a youngster is to let them play with it. There we go. You're funny. You're funny. Anytime they flinch their skin, they move, I repeat it because I want them totally to accept it. Another thing with this stage too that is so important, show horses, or especially show horses, and I have a lot of show horses and have all my life, they need daily grooming for their coats and hair to be in condition what it takes to really have the proper turnout for the show ring. That means they need a lot of grooming. And at this stage here, just like anything you do with horses, you're really setting their first impression of what's going to be lasting of habits with that horse throughout the rest of their life. And there's nothing more important for me, or it makes me feel good, when the horse likes to be groomed. And one that likes to be groomed, it's a great reward after schooling, after riding, and it's something that's part of their life if they're going to be a show horse. To back my horse, I'm going to use my voice like I did in the stall. My right hand on the point of the shoulder. All my left hand is doing is guiding the head and neck to stay straight in line with the body, or right or left to help straighten the horse. Back, 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 back. Good, good. Back, back, back. Doing nothing with the left hand. Back, 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 back. Good, good. Now use my lunge line on her there just to get her a little bit more sensitive. Come here. Because you add pressure if she's not responding, but if you add too much pressure and then she starts pushing against you, that's not good. So I did that to build the sensitivity. Now I'm going to hold my hand also too down on the lead shank this time, just so she doesn't lean on my left hand whatsoever. Back, back, back. Much improved. Very good. Very good. A few steps of that, you reward, and that's plenty for that day. Once my horse is very consistent in handling and standing and accepting me brushing the horse, picking up the feet, I can add again the clippers in the aisle of the barn, everything that I did in the stall. Once they do it very well in the aisle of the barn, also with their handling, coming to me, moving away from pressure at the shoulder, at the hip, backing, stopping, and standing. Then I'm ready to go to more of a bigger environment, such as an indoor arena and or an outside smaller paddock. In the outside or the bigger area, again, I will start the whole process over again, just like I've done here, to keep the progression very gradual, but to help regain the horse's concentration and his knowledge of what I've taught him in the other areas where he was more confined.
Be patient. Do not attempt to work outside the stall until the horse responds well to commands in the stall. Use the same voice commands in the aisle as in the stall. Consistency is crucial. Do not take your eyes off your horse. The horse will start to move, and you will lose his attention when he starts to move his head, particularly when he drops it down. Keep your lead loose as you did in the stall.
After my work and training with my horse in the aisle of a barn, it's at this time that I also want to include the horse learning to accept water, because water is something that you're going to use with your horse for many different reasons. And in our particular barn, we have a wash area. If not, what I'm going to simulate and show you how you can teach your horse to accept the water without confusion, worriedness, and have very good experiences. You can also use a fence or a corner of a fence. Take your hose out there, make sure you got plenty of hose to work with, and the same thing can be simulated that I'm going to show you here. In our wash stall, on any young horse or any horse, again, I want my horse to sniff it, to smell it, and I let the horse take its time to accept the area. When the horse smells and you hear the breathing stay quiet, this is their sense and their habit to trust an area that they're working in. Now, she wanted to turn a little bit quick here. That's pretty typical because this is a closed end and an open end, but I'm gonna have her wait. Anytime that she shows a hurried kind of response, then I'm gonna make her stay there a little bit longer, and that always teaches them to be a little more patient and take more time to accept something. My goal here in doing this is that the more that I can take things gradually and be patient with this, but yet I can keep her controlled to me, the more she's going to accept something new. The more she can get away from me and hurry, be worried, or kind of take charge without my commands, then I'm going to have a harder time, or it's going to take longer for her to accept what I'm going to introduce new. So, just like I did with everything else, come here, come here. Good. Back up. Back up. I'm going to use the wall or an aisle of the barn or the fence as a protection on one side. That's very good. Okay, now I've got her acclimated in the area, and I'm going to turn the water on, the sound and the look. We got something new, and I'm still going to block her here. Very good. Good girl. Let me block her here so you can see. Let it run. There she's checking it out. No, you can't leave me. As I did, I brought my hands up to block her. If she'll smell it, I'll be really happy. But now she's losing her attention a little bit to it. So I'll move it. That's a girl. Now, I've spent so much time with her in the stall, in the aisle of the barn. She really trusts me at this point because she's not showing me that she's real worried about a whole lot. I wouldn't introduce the water until I had that time on her. I think that's really important to understand. Okay, let's back up. Let's back up. Do you remember how to back, 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 back? Good. Now I'm going to let the water run just a little bit less, and I'm going to make it keep a little bit more sound. As you see there in her ears and her eyes, she's a little bit worried, but not showing any reaction, and I'll let the water now splash on her. Splash on her feet. Good girl. That's what I want you to smell. And there you can see and I heard in her breathing a stronger couple breaths, and that's their sense of protecting themselves from it. Once she's not moving, and if she does move, there I moved away from her, which wasn't good. If she moves a leg or moves, what I want to try to do is when I start touching the water on her is keep it there touching. Very good. That's my good girl. And she got away from me that time, so I'm gonna be a little bit sharper this time. That's what I want. Very good. That's it. Good. There we go. And I love the fact that she's sniffing the water. Now she's getting to accept it. And if she'll paw on it a little bit, then that's real good. Then that's saying that she really now is saying, okay, this isn't going to hurt me. Once they accept it with the legs, okay, now let's get up here a little bit closer and let's get you even to the wall. Good. Letting her hear the sound. Good. Now I'm going to back her up just a little bit more. Bring her head this way. Good girl. Back up. So she'll back up straighter to the wall, because when I want to work on her side, then I truly don't want her crooked, and where I can truly keep her controlled, because if she moves forward, I'm going to block her here, and I'm going to right now stay at this point. If she backs up, I really don't need to make any other moves except move with her, but I've got the wall to protect on one side. That's very good. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Good. Very good. Very good. That's a girl. And like I mentioned earlier in the aisle of the barn, so you don't forget anywhere, it's always good to work from front to back and top to bottom with a horse. But with water, I start at the legs and I move up. So I'll work from bottom to top in that regard. Okay, very good there. Now we'll see with the back feet. Let it splash. Okay, touching. If she moves, I want to try to keep that water with it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good girl, good girl. Short little deep commands is also very good. Now I'm keeping the water directly on it. And my goal is if she moves it around or tries to stomp her foot or whatever, I'm going to try to keep that water right on it until she sets it down. That's very good. When she accepts that, then I'll move up the leg. Shania, you're being a good girl. Anytime there's any flitching or movement of your horse doing something new or anything that you're doing, that means that they're trying to evade you and get away from you, or get away from accepting what's being done. And for me, with my horse, I want them to accept everything that I do. Good girl. Then the other side, we'll just leave this water run, walk around a little bit. That's a girl. That's a girl. Let her still smell. Good. Move her hip. Good. Okay, come here. Come here. Good. Okay, come here. Come here. Come here. Good. And can you back? Bring your head toward me so I can get her hips over to the left. Back. Back. Good girl. Back. Back. Real straight. One more step. Good. Very good. Very good. Okay? Same procedure on this side. Watch to the right though, switch hands. Watch to the right. They're a little bit, always a little more insecure to the right than to the left because you do too much more on the left side of them. Okay, again, my goal is that good. If they move, I keep that water there. Very good, Shania. There's also a couple other things I'd like to mention with working with your water is I always use a hose, and as you can see here, it's a pretty used kind of hose, but not one that's got a nozzle on it where the water's going to spray out really strong and make a lot more noise. The beginnings, that can, once they're accepting with it and you do it a lot with them, that doesn't matter at that point. But right now, when you're first teaching them, you want to make sure that the water's slow and very soft and the minimal amount of noise. And the other thing that to be careful that your water's not too cold. If it's too cold and or could be too hot, there's where your horse is certainly going to wiggle around. Now let me see if my baby will stand without being tied while I wet my sponge. Oh boy. Good. That's very good. And whenever I start with the head, I will always do something with the head with the water. And I always start out with a sponge. And I use a sponge for a long period of time when washing or wiping or teaching them to accept me doing things with their head. And the reason I really take a lot of time because the head is the hardest part to train. The head is very sensitive. It takes longer for them to trust you with their head because they use their head as a defense, but more so that they're very sensitive. And I will start with that with a sponge, a very soft sponge, and just hold the top of my halter with my hand so I can somewhat control the head where she's trying to evade me working with her. And it's just very light, very controlled. And as you see here, as high as she's holding her head up, she's still showing me that she's not really totally accepting what I'm doing. But in a good way, in a sense that I know that she's just green. If she was trying to back up, run away, throw her head, do some real quick kind of movements, then I would certainly know that what I've done was too much and or I went too fast. And she's certainly not accepting. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Sure. And she's going to need lots of time, this little one. Lots of time. Then, just to show you, after, as she does now, let me see if I can just get her to relax her head and neck down just a little bit. Just so I can show you that. Come here. Hey, come on. That's a girl. That's a girl. See, and I'm not really going to get it accomplished here because that's a girl. That's it. When you can get them to lower the head and neck and they keep the head and neck lower or the head and neck low while you're working with them, then that's definitely they're telling you that they are relaxed and they're accepting and they trust you. That's a good girl. I will continue to do that until she keeps the head and neck low all the time while I'm working with her head. And I just want to show you here, because she's certainly not ready for this, is that just like my handling, when I start with the top of the head, I will have my water, my hose very low. I'll show you when I'm done here. And I will start with the top of the head and letting the water run this way. That way it's going to, when they're not accepting something, they're going to pull away from it, and this will help encourage them to accept it. So I'll use the water this way. After they let the water run in their face and they relax, they don't mind, then you can use your water hose and come up this way with the hose. And if I was to start out with her head, I probably, well, let's see. There we go. Probably would start with the water about like so. Very good. You're a good girl for your second lesson here with the water, I'll tell you that. You have to remember that a horse is an individual, like we are all individuals as people. And a horse, there's no horse that's going to be exactly the same and do things exactly the same. And I've had people very often say, well, how long should this take? The horse will tell you that. And he'll tell you that by recognizing relaxation, by recognizing that the horse is very easy to work with, very obedient, very mannered. They're taking it all in stride. This is where they're telling you that you've spent the time needed for that horse to learn something. And that's what's most important with me. And I don't know if you remember that I mentioned once before how sensitive her little nose is. Here's a way to get that nose not as sensitive. And that for now, just talking to you, she's now starting to play with the water a little bit and drink it a little bit. That's going to help that. So it's these fun little things. The more that you use your common sense, the more that you be patient, the more that you put yourself in a situation where you can continue to have control of your horse. You're not out in a big open area where your horse can get away from you one step or many steps. This way, you're always going to make your best progress. No, 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 no. That's a good girl. That's a girl. Oh, hi. I'm just playing. We just had a little lesson with water for the first time, and I got my clippers hanging by the wash stall, and I'm just playing here and giving her something daily with these clippers so she learns to accept everything that I'm going to do with her. Oh, that's a good girl. Wow, I'm very impressed. Very carefully do I work with that. That's very good. Sure. There. Second bridle path, huh? Very good. Very good. Oops. Oops. Too much. See? Got to go back to my touching. Then my clippers. Then we accept. Good girl. Very good. Very good. And it doesn't matter how you clip at this point. It's just doing it. Even if you're not going to clip them the rest of their life, maybe somewhere along the line she might need it. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Good. There we go. There we go. Very good. Up, up, up. You got away from me. That's a girl. There, now you're feeling that vibration. Sure. A little bit this one. We got two ears, not just one. Very good. Oh, I like how you're lowering your head there. That's nice. That's nice. Ah, good. Very good. Very good lesson today. Thank you, Shania. That was fun. These two short sessions of teaching my horse to accept water, the little bit of clipping, this is as important to me in the training of this horse as it is in anything that I want to teach my horse under saddle. Because here's the real foundation and basics that's going to build that horse to trust you, accept you, and want to work willingly for you. And there's nothing more fun than having a horse that's easy to work around and that enjoys the people that are working with it.
Be patient. Do not introduce your young horse to water until he responds well to basic commands learned in the stall and aisleway. Accustom the horse to the sight and sound of water before the touch. Avoid strong water pressure and cold water. Unlike the rest of the handling, teach bathing from bottom to top. Do not cross-tie when you first introduce water. Editor's tip: no wash stall, no hot water. Work outside with a long, dark-colored hose lying in the sun. Use a nozzle with slow, gentle spray.
Okay, some tips that I'd like to share with you today are tips about good safety of trailering your horse and loading and unloading a horse. And first I'm going to just show you how I like to load a horse that is broke to load, that has no fear, accepts the trailer, and has had a lot of experience with it. Most important thing when we take these steps, and I will work with a horse that hasn't been loaded before, The same procedures will remain the same for either horse, one that's broke or not. First, I always open up my trailer. Usually, most of the times, horses fear going into an enclosed or area where they get a little more claustrophobic. This particular design of this trailer's got long doors. Opening both of these doors on both sides gives as much light inside the trailer, so you've got more similar outside to inside. That is very, very important for the horse. Second, I got something to eat in there for them. Got hay, lots of hay in hay bags, to where as soon as they get in, they get food as a treat or a reward, and the food to keep them quiet. Second, I've got the trailer. Now, if this was a horse that was really broke, I might not go back to this point, but I've got the trailer in a situation with what we're going to work with a young horse, and that is having a fence behind and having a more confined area in which to work the horse. This confined area will keep the horse concentrating more on the trailer opposed to out in a big open area. There's so much more that you can lose concentration with, but especially can lose control of the horse. We're also in an enclosed paddock. Another good safety feature, being in an enclosed area when you're working with that first timer, trying to teach them to load. The reason I have the horse that's experienced, he's going to help me and a teacher. He's already going to be in the trailer before I start with my young one, and he's going to also give that young one confidence to get inside the trailer. So I'm going to maneuver my horse around. This particular trailer also has a ramp. Some trailers have them, some don't. I prefer them to have one. I think it's just a little more gentler for the horse getting in and out than stepping up and down. But stepping up and down, there would be no change of procedure in what I would do. In any horse, I'm first going to let the horse address the obstacle as this horse is here. Second, I'm going to maneuver my horse over so I can get my horse straight to go into the spot in the trailer. So that's very important, that he's not crooked and walking sideways and can bang a leg or a hip as he's going in. Second, I like to face my horse, walk backwards myself into the trailer as my horse walks in. That way I still get to see the view of my horse. You can address and throw the lead over the back and send your horse in as another way to load a horse. I'm not saying that's not a good way, but a lot of times horses then can have a tendency to get too anxious jumping in the trailer, and I've seen too many times where they jump in, might be a little bit damp on the floor or something, and they slip. So this way I control their speed in which they're getting in, and I'm also always looking and reading that horse. So as I go, I'm going to turn around, face my horse. I'm on a loose line like we did in the stall, asking my horse to come to me and never pulling him to come into the trailer. But I'm watching and guiding his head straight if I need to guide it, if it gets crooked like here. So he stays focused to come into the trailer. Okay, come here, Dancer. And this is Phil's Rugged Dancer, one of our wonderful school horses. Come on, Dancer. Good, I'm never pulling. I'm letting him take his time. Come on, Dancer. Come on. Not pulling, but here's where I have to guide his head where I want it to go. Come on, Dancer. Come on. Come on. Come on. That's a good boy. Come on. Come on. Come on. That's my boy. Come on. Come on. Good. Good boy. Very good. Now, this particular trailer, well, no. I'm just going to wait. Just wait. Good boy. Now, this particular trailer has a chest bar in front, so it's easy for me to walk through. So I'm going to latch it. Now I need to go to the back and hook the butt bar. I put my lead just through the hay bag just to secure my horse to stay there, but certainly not to tie him. As I come to the back and I do my butt bar, I want to stand to the side, never directly behind the horse. Grab the butt bar, latch it, and still standing to the side, and giving my horse a good pet to reward him for such a nice loading procedure. Then last, to tie my horse, and I tie my horse just like I explained in the stall area. I tie my horse's head where he's standing comfortable without any tension, of pulling up with his head and where there's just a little bit of a slack here. And with this, then he can't get his head down and get into any trouble. With a slip knot, and putting my lead through that slip knot, there my horse is loaded. Now we're going to work with Shania. Shania is the yearling, and I'm going to first let her sniff and address the trailer. Of course, she'll be very curious here, again with the hay up, but then she sees a friend in there. So this is a very good procedure. One thing that you want to make sure that you have all your doors latched back, so all of the doors doesn't have a chance with wind that could blow into the horse, scare him in any way. I think she thinks she needs to go in that way. So right now she's already more curious than she is worried about this trailer. Come here, Shania. Hey, come here. It's okay. Come here. Come here. You got to help me over here first. Working with a youngster that hasn't been loaded before, you want to make sure that you have all the tools with you that you might need, and also another helper if you need that. I'm going to try to do it by myself first because it can be done. Might take a little bit longer, but I want to show you what you can do if you do not have a helper to help you. First, a lunge line, and as you see here, she's certainly not afraid of anything if she wants to pick it up. I have 2 lunge lines without a chain, just with a snap. I also have a lunge whip and a working in hand whip. So these 2 tools I might need. I also have my horse, or I'm going to load with the confined area. Come here, babies. Good, good. Okay, now, I know you're curious, but come over here a minute. Come over here. Good. Now wait, I'll let you be curious in a minute. I got to get my equipment together. I'm going to take my lunge line, and I'm going to run, the one end through the loop. Come here. Back up. Let's see if we remembered our backing. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Back up. Good girl. Okay. And as I'm doing this, I still have my eye on my horse through my peripheral vision, and make a loop like such. And this loop's going to go around her rump. Now, she's never had this on before, so I'm going to come over here alongside the fence so she doesn't get away from me. Good girl. Over here. Oh, good. Very good. You remembered that from your lesson in the stall, huh? In the aisle of the barn, huh? Okay, then take this loop, and this is also a very good procedure on just teaching a horse how to lead. Putting this around the rump, making sure that it goes down the lower legs but not below the hocks. Then, if I have no troubles, I should be okay with my lead as I have it attached to the halter and my lunge line. Oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And I'm going to let her learn to accept this by a little tug on the line to go forward. I'll keep her on a turn. Good, and I'm not going to do any pulling on her head. Just like I did with my broke horse, the most important thing you don't want to do is pull on your lead shank to give him something to lean against. They have to give to pressure. That's a good girl. Now, she showed me that she wants to nuzzle and nibble at the line. Whoa, good girl. A little bit. So that tells me that she's accepted what we're doing here. So not wasting any time, I'm going to come back over here. Come on, Shania. And now I'm going to let her smell more of the trailer. Good girl. The more I take my time with this, the more I'm giving her the time to have the confidence about the trailer. Okay, now come over here. No. Good girl. That's okay. No. And then the horse in the trailer Just gave a little whinny to her, and that's a good indication because that's going to also encourage her to go with her natural instinct, which is being with a friend or their herded animal. So now I'm going to encourage her to come toward the trailer. No, that's it. That's it. Now I'm going to change this. That's it. So I'm to the outside. No. Good. And I'm going to let, whoa, she wants to go in already because that's how she's not even afraid. I'm not going to let her sniff the butt of the other horse. I mean, if I know the horse really well, that might be okay because I know this one. I know he's not going to kick in any way, but I'm just going to let her sniff at that horse, and that'll always keep from that horse being startled or to kick back at the other horse. That you want to make very sure of, that you're working with a good old schoolmaster in that regard. Now I just got a good lick of her lips, and that lick of her lips is telling me that she's really accepting what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take the next procedure, and I'm going to encourage her to follow me. Come on, good girl, good girl. Letting her stop and smell. Good girl, good girl, good. And then she can greet her friend. Very nice. Now, same procedure as I did with Dancer. I'm going to hook the front. If she wants to back out, I'm going to let her back out. There's no big deal. Same procedure here. With this, I'm just going to lay on the ground my lunge line. Same procedure here. With the hay, I'm just going to put my line to give her a little bit of indication of being tied, but not being tied. I'm going to come back here, standing to the side, hook my butt guard, and I'm looking at my horse, and she's standing in here resting her leg, which I absolutely love. That means she's very relaxed, and I had a good experience. That was very good. Then I would tie my horse up. Now, for me, I would leave the horse standing here for a good while. Let him get used to it, eat for a while, just kind of hang out with the nice master horse that's helped out, that Dancer's helped us with. Take this line on and off, just anything that I kind of need to do to give her time in here. Oh, now that was my fault, wasn't it? That was my fault. I'm sorry. Come on up here. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, that's very good. See, and she found her boundaries here. And I'm going to go a little bit to the inside without her being tied. That's a girl. That's my girl. And now I'm going to slip this over her hip. Very good. Very good. That's better. That didn't startle you, huh? Okay, come back up. Come on, come on. Good girl. That's very good. And we'll just kind of half fake tie her because we're not going anywhere today. Now this is one easy procedure by yourself. Again, I can't stress how much that I try to have an excellent experience like this because this baby horse showed absolutely no fear whatsoever of the trailer. I certainly gave the horse opportunity to have some training in the stall, the aisleway of the barn, before loading the horse, which is always very desirable, and to let the horse get confidence from another horse. This is the best procedure that I can say, and it's so important that the first few times of loading and unloading that they have this kind of experience, then you're not going to have troubles. If a horse has had problems where he has either gotten hurt in a trailer, if a horse has really had a very, very bad experience by being frightened from a trailer, had an accident in a trailer, those horses are going to be more inclined not to load. Or a horse that's very spoiled and has gotten away from people not knowing how to load a horse and hasn't gotten in the trailer and they fussed and fight. All of those indications, if I have that bad of experience with a horse, what I like to do best is to back my trailer up to a fence or a paddock or the gate, and where the opening is just that same size. And the horse is in that paddock, and then I feed them in the trailer. They have to learn themselves how to get in and out of that trailer. So their feed, their water, their hay is all inside, and you'll find you give them time. It might take them a half a day or a day, but you will find that that's the best way to overcome any of those bad habits that the horse might have gotten into. Okay, now I'm ready to unload the horse. I'm just going to reverse all my procedures with the youngster first always, not the schoolmaster horse. Again, coming around, being at the side, not having my horse tied or untying him, but I'm just going to unload and load, so I never really needed a tie at this point. Always the butt guard first. Good girl. Good girl. Very good. Okay, giving a little touch on the hip. So again, they're confident at all times what they're doing. Then my horse never really being tied, but I'm going to take my lead again, and I'm going to unhook my chest bar, and I'm going to use the word BACK, like she's learned in the stall in the aisle of the barn. And my goal is that I use, just with a halter, I just keep her head straight. If I need her to back anymore, I'm going to push on the shoulder, back, back. The slower the better. Back, 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 back. Good girl. Back, back. Good girl. Back, back. Good girl. Back. The fence here also is an excellent guideline, so the horse comes out slow. I'm going to let her look around but not sniff the school horse.